Most people don't realize when they're about to disappear. But sometimes, the last thing they ever do is make a phone call. A whispered message left at 2:13 a.m. A dropped call in the middle of the woods that was never logged. And a FaceTime that froze just before something stepped into frame. These aren't ghost stories. They're based on real events, disappearances that remain unsolved to this day. And they all started with one final call. This is Mr. H. You're listening to Masked Horror. The 2:13 a.m. voicemail. I still have the voicemail saved. I've probably listened to it 100 times, even though I shouldn't. My best friend's voice, terrified, whispering, gasping like she's trying not to cry. That was the last time anyone ever heard from her. Her name was Alina, 26, my best friend. She was like a sister to me. We talked almost every day, and I was the one she called when she didn't feel safe. She'd always have this low-level paranoia about break-ins, stalkers, people watching her. We used to tease her about it. But now, I wondered if she sensed something none of us could. It was a Tuesday night. I had just gotten into bed around midnight when she texted me. "Do you hear that?" I replied, "Hear what?" No response. Then, at 2:13 a.m., she called. I missed it. I was asleep, didn't even hear the buzz. I woke up to the missed call notification and the voicemail. I remember lying there, phone in hand, heart pounding as I listened. It started with static, then her voice, shaky, whispering. "Ashley, I think someone's inside." I heard something. A door. I locked it. I swear I locked it. You could hear her breathing pick up. She sounds like she's hiding somewhere, like in a closet or behind something. He's in the house. Then there's this horrible thump. Something heavy hitting the floor. She gasps, like she's holding back a scream, and then the line goes silent. The last few seconds are just static and a faint mechanical clicking sound. I don't know why I listened to it again and again, like maybe I'd hear something new. But the worst part, she wasn't wrong. When the police got to her apartment, the door was locked. No signs of forced entry. Lights were still on, TV still playing. But she was gone. Her phone was on the couch, screen cracked, purse still there, keys, shoes by the door, a cup of tea still warm on the table. It was like she just disappeared. And yet, we heard her. On that voicemail, she knew someone was there. They searched the entire complex. Neighbors said they hadn't heard or seen anything. No strange visitors, no signs of struggle. But I know what I heard on the voicemail. I begged the detective to trace the call's location. He said it pinged from her apartment at exactly 2:13 a.m. But after that, her phone went offline. They pulled security footage from the front of the building. Nothing. No one entered. No one left. The only footage they couldn't access, the back stairwell camera. Come to find out, the building just had it for show, and it wasn't operational. 3 days after Alina went missing, I got a call from an unknown number. I let it ring out. Then it rang again and again. No voicemail, just silence when I answered, but always at odd hours between 2 and 3 a.m. One night, I picked up without thinking and didn't say a word. There There was no greeting, just breathing, shallow, almost hesitant, like someone trying to listen through the phone. I hung up and blocked the number, but they kept coming from different numbers, always untraceable, always the same pattern. Then I started noticing other things, little things. My bedroom window cracked open when I knew I had locked it. Footsteps in the hallway of my apartment building when no one else was home. The sound of my doorknob gently turning in the middle of the night. I bought a camera for the front door, a cheap motion sensor one. Twice, it picked up movement around 2:10 a.m. But when I checked the footage, it was black, not glitched, just completely dark, like the lens had been covered. The next night, I found a faint smudge on the camera, like a fingerprint pressed right against it. I showed everything to the police, the calls, the noises, the camera footage. They said it was probably someone messing with me, a neighbor, a prank, but I know better, because it stopped as suddenly as it started. I changed jobs, got a new phone, new number, left the city altogether. It's quiet now, but I still can't sleep through the night. I wake up gasping sometimes, convinced I heard my name whispered from the hallway. And every once in a while, at exactly 2:13 a.m., my phone lights up. No call, no notification, just the screen lighting up on its own, as if someone or something is still trying to reach me. And I still haven't deleted the voicemail because a part of me is still listening, still hoping, still afraid. Dropped call in the woods. I used to think true fear was something loud, screaming, thrashing, panic. But when it happened to me, it was the silence that scared me the most. This was 2 years ago. I was 19 at the time, and my roommate Kelsey and I had planned a weekend hike about an hour outside of Asheville. We were both outdoorsy, into photography, and had done this kind of thing before. She found a trail online, something remote but beautiful, with a few creeks and cliffside overlooks. It was called Bear Ridge Trail. There's not much online about it anymore. That part, I'll explain. We left on Saturday morning, made good time, and parked off a gravel access road. No other cars, no ranger station, just us, our backpacks, and the forest. By 2 p.m., we were about 4 miles deep. The trail had gotten smaller, and the map Kelsey printed out wasn't lining up with the landmarks. It was getting uneasy, and so was she. But she tried to act calm. That's when I suggested turning back. She hesitated, then nodded. We stopped to rest, drink some water. I took out my phone to check signal. 1 bar. I figured I'd at least text our location to someone, just in case. Then I noticed I had a missed call from my boyfriend Ben. He had called earlier, but I never felt the vibration, so I called him back. He picked up on the first ring. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "We're fine, just a little lost, maybe 2 hours from the car." He asked if we needed help. I said no, but I could hear the concern in his voice. He said, "Can you share your location?" That's when I heard it. Kelsey, just a few feet away, said, "Do you hear that?" I paused. "Hear what?" Ben asked the same thing. She was facing the tree line, her eyes squinting. "Someone's moving out there." I turned, looked around. I didn't see anything. No branches snapping, no movement, just quiet woods. Then she said, "They've been behind us since the last stream." Her voice was completely different now, low and flat, like she'd been pretending not to be scared for the past hour. That's when the call dropped. Just click. No warning, no goodbye, no signal. I looked down at my phone. Call failed. And that's when Kelsey turned to me and whispered, "We need to go. Now." We started walking, fast, no talking, just the crunch of leaves and my heart pounding in my ears. Every few minutes I looked back, but I never saw anyone. But Kelsey, she kept glancing behind us, like she knew someone was there. We made it back to the car just before sunset. I was shaking as I got into the car. I told her I was going to call Ben again and let him know we were okay. That's when she said something that made my skin crawl. "You were never on the phone." I stopped cold. "What?" "You never talked to anyone," she said, still staring out the windshield. "You pulled out your phone and stood there. You didn't say a word." I told her that wasn't true. I spoke to him, I heard him, but she insisted. She said I froze, that I looked like I was listening to something, but I never said a word. I thought maybe she was just in shock or misremembering, but when we got home, I checked my phone. No outgoing call, no call log, no recording, no call failed. It's like the whole thing never happened. But here's what still gets me. That night, Ben texted me again. He said he saw my call come in and answered, but all he heard on the line was wind, and then just before it cut off, a voice that wasn't mine whispered, "She's not alone." The next morning, I tried to pull Bear Ridge Trail up online again. The link Kelsey used, gone. Forum post deleted. No recent search results. It's like it vanished. We never hiked together again after that. We kind of just grew apart. Maybe because I couldn't believe what she said she saw. We had a couple of fights about it, and we didn't look at each other the same after that. Sometimes I wonder if we really were being followed, or if it was something else. Something that knew how to mimic a voice. Something that used my phone as bait. Or she went crazy, or I went crazy. I'll never know, and I don't want to find out. The FaceTime that froze. It happened to my younger brother Eli. He was 17, and we were really close, even though I'm 5 years older. I was kind of like a second parent to him, especially after our dad passed. It was a Friday night in October when it happened. I remember that because I had just flown back into town for a few days, and we had planned to grab dinner that weekend. He never made it. Eli had gone to a friend's house after school. Nothing unusual. Played video games, watched some dumb horror movie, and headed home around 9:45 p.m. He didn't drive, so we walked. It was about a 15-minute walk through a quiet neighborhood. At 9:57 p.m., he FaceTimed his girlfriend Casey. They used to do that a lot, talk while walking. Sometimes he'd just point the camera at the sidewalk while he talked. Nothing weird. But this time was different. At 10:01 p.m., the call froze. Not ended. Froze. Casey said 1 second he was talking, joking about how cold it was, and the next, the screen froze on his face. But it wasn't a normal freeze. His face was twisted, eyebrows raised, mouth slightly open, almost like he had just seen something off screen. She kept talking to him, thinking it was just lag. Then she noticed something in the corner of the frame. Something moving. But not Eli. Something behind him. She swears it wasn't a person. Not exactly. She said it looked like someone crawling, fast, low to the ground. Just a blur of limbs and pale skin. Then the screen went black. The call dropped. She tried calling back. Nothing. She called me next. I didn't even hesitate. I grabbed my keys and headed straight to the path he usually walked. By the time I got there, police were already on the scene. A neighbor had called it in. They heard a phone ringing over and over again near the storm drain at the end of the block. They found Eli's phone, screen cracked, still warm, but no sign of him. No scuff marks, no blood, no footprints. It's like he vanished mid-step. The police assumed he ran away or got into a car with someone, but we knew better. Eli wouldn't just leave. He definitely wouldn't leave Casey mid-call. The most disturbing part came later, when we checked the phone's camera roll. Even though the FaceTime had dropped, the front camera kept recording for another 37 seconds. We don't know how. It shouldn't have been possible, but there it was. It starts with the frozen image of Eli's face, just like Casey saw. Then movement. In the blurry background behind him, something slowly rises up from the edge of the frame. It's a figure, but it's not walking upright. It's crawling like a person, but distorted. Arms bending the wrong way. No clothes. Skin stretched tight like plastic. Its face is never fully visible, but at one point, it turns slightly toward the camera, like it knows it's being watched. And then, the footage cuts out. We gave it to the police. They reviewed it, but said it was corrupted. Digital artifacting, they called it. They couldn't explain how the phone recorded video without an app open, and they definitely couldn't explain what was on it. Eli was missing for 2 days. No leads, no ransom, no sightings, nothing. Then early Monday morning, just before sunrise, my mom found him standing on the front porch, shoeless, shirt inside out, dirt on his hands and face, eyes glassy like he hadn't slept in days. He didn't say a word at first, just walked past us and sat down on the couch like nothing happened. When he finally spoke, all he could say was, "Why is everyone acting weird?" He had no idea he'd been gone. He thought it was still Friday night. He didn't remember walking home, didn't remember the FaceTime call, didn't remember anything after he turned off his friend's street. Doctors ran tests, no head trauma, no drugs in his system, clean bill of health. They said it was temporary amnesia caused by stress or trauma, but none of it made sense. Not for Eli, not for how he was found, not for what was caught on his phone. He's okay now, mostly, but he still won't talk about it. He won't watch the video, and every so often, at around 10:01 p.m., his phone will randomly light up, then go dark, just for a second. No calls, no notifications, just the screen turning on, like it's waiting for something or someone.